Hello, welcome to People in Perspective. I'm Dave Winslow, and my guest for this edition is Dave Winslow. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure.
All right, so Mr. Winslow, can you tell us, what do you do for a living?
I am a apprentice plumber right now with a company in the Oak Park River Forest area.
And what is this company?
It's Dan Rieg Plumbing, and we've been in that area for over 20 years.
All right, so tell us, how did you get into your line of work? What made you really consider doing plumbing?
Well, I had been a carpenter in the remodeling industry for the previous 15 years, and a friend of mine purchased a plumbing company and asked me if I wanted to get involved with just plumbing and change over a little bit. So I decided to, and it's worked out very well.
All right, so, you know, how long have you been doing this? How long have you been a plumber?
Actually, just plumbing is going on 2 years now, and I can say I've learned an awful lot in the last 2 years, and it's enjoyable.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned that you were an apprentice plumber. What's the difference between a regular plumber and an apprentice plumber?
The plumbing industry, like the electrical industry, is one of the two trades that you have to be licensed to perform in the state of Illinois. And you have to go through a 4-year program as an apprentice before you can take the state test to become a licensed plumber in Illinois, and then you become a journeyman.
All right. And then after the title of journeyman, is that just a normal plumber then?
Yeah, that means you are a licensed plumber, and you are allowed to practice. You could open up your own store or work for any company as a licensed plumber.
All right. So, you know, we're approaching winter time here, and what's some of the main issues or biggest problems people tend to face in the winter months?
I would definitely say in the winter time, it's obviously the freezing of pipes that people have installed outside water spigots over the summertime, or they forget to turn the water off to their outside water spigot, and the pipes will then freeze in the winter time, and we get a lot of calls. Unfortunately, usually later at night when the temperature drops, to go replace burst pipes in the wintertime.
I can imagine this is a big issue and a costly one.
Yes. If they don't have any type of shutoff valve anywhere close to the burst pipe, that by the time we can respond, they can have a considerable amount of water in their house.
Yeah. And so how can you protect against this issue?
The first thing we do is whenever we get to a house that has to have lines going through the exterior, or we always make sure to have enough insulation between the exterior of the house where the cold air is coming in and where the pipes actually are. And then it's always nice to have as many valves as possible to shut the water off and make it so it's only feeding one or two lines.
I see. So then, what are some of the common tools you use in this trade?
Lots of wrenches, and we use torches and solder for putting together the copper pipes nowadays. Most everything for water lines is done with copper piping as opposed to galvanized in the past. And now all of your drain lines and waste and venting lines are done with PVC as opposed to used to be cast iron in the past, which is a lot easier material to work with and last very long.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like as time progresses, there's been a lot of changes to the plumbing industry.
Oh yeah, there's been lots of considerable improvements in the materials and the knowledge of the way to run things underground and above ground.
Mm-hmm. So what's some of the most exciting or different experiences you've had while working on this job?
Exciting, I guess if you want to say exciting, is I did have one call to a house where a lady lost her ring down the kitchen sink, and when I got there, I was able to retrieve it from the drain line, but I also found another piece of jewelry down there also that apparently didn't belong to her. So she was happy to find her ring, but also a little concerned as to who the other jewelry belonged to, considering they didn't have any children or anything.
Oh, wow, I can imagine. So I can imagine going into other people's houses. I'm sure pets are an issue some of the times.
Yeah, it pays to be not afraid of dogs and to be an animal lover, because it seems like everybody has a dog running around the house nowadays, and a lot of times people will leave us in the house to work and not be alone, and they always give us instructions on make sure we don't leave any doors open and going in and out with to let their cats and animals let loose.
Yeah. And then, how would you recommend finding a good plumber or any type of electrician, carpenter, to someone?
Number one is always word of mouth, and through your friends, relatives, neighbors, and see what they do first of all, because a lot of we're not real big fans of just advertising in the phone book or other ways, because pretty much anybody can just purchase a space and put their name out there. If you have a good reputation and do quality work, usually you'll be able to be found through a neighbor or a friend with a good recommendation.
All right. So that brings me to my next point of, well, you said word of mouth is very key in your industry. How can people contact you, Dan Reed Plumbing, to schedule an appointment? And what times do you guys, days, times do you guys prefer to service? What are good times for you?
Well, we are a Monday through Friday primarily company. We do have emergency work on the weekend. We have usually people call our shop and leave a message on the machine, and we get back to them usually within that same day. And then there's also a number for an emergency line, which my boss answers directly, and we try to get to the emergencies as best as possible. We're not really a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week service emergency company, but we do provide that for our regular customers.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me on People in Perspective. I'm Dave Winslow. Thanks for watching.